So this is a special video where I go over some old Sailor Moon VHS tapes. For legal reasons, I can't actually show any video clips from the tapes, which is a huge bummer. For the DiC and Cloverway episodes, you can find clips of them on YouTube illegally, hush hush, don't tell nobody. And for the good episodes, you know, uncensored and uncut the way God intended, go to Hulu or to Yahoo View and type in Sailor Moon. All of the Viz Media subs and dubs are there, and you can also check them out on Neon Alley. So let's get started. These tapes here were the first ever tapes released in the United States. These come from Buena Vista, which was a Disney subsidiary, and these were DiC episodes. These were the first tapes that ever legally had Sailor Moon in the United States, and also the first tapes I ever had Sailor Moon related, and I'll get into another story about that shortly. DiC would actually hire people to redraw certain scenes. Like, this is a issue here. This tape has the first ever episode of Sailor Moon from the first season, but she's got her Sailor Moon R wand on the back of the VHS, and you can see they traced over a scene from her fight with Rubius, which at the time this tape came out, they didn't have the rights to that episode yet because the program exchange hadn't helped them yet. Oopsie poopsies. So these tapes, they would take episodes out of order and sandwich them together. And they would use promotional artwork from Japan, and once again, artwork out of season. This picture of Usagi, that's actually from the second Sailor Moon opening that they did not use in this season. And this picture of Queen Beryl with a weird face and Jadeite comes from promotional work from Japan. So this one had, and I'm using the Japanese episode numbers, episodes 1 and 3, I think. And then the second tape that I have skips way ahead. Wise Man is on the cover, but Wise Man is from Sailor Moon R. This is from the first season of Sailor Moon. I don't know why Wise Man is here, or why Sailor Mars is missing her middle, and why her midsection is bare, or why she has blue eyes. What did you do, Wise Man? She's 14, Wise Man. Don't touch little girls like that, Wise Man. And then here we have more of DiC's lovely redraw art. And this is a picture of Zoisite from the episode where we find out who Princess Serenity is. Zoisite's not in this episode. This is the cruise episode with Jadeite. How do you confuse Zoisite and Jadeite? And then here's a picture of Sailor Venus in the episode with Nephrite and the little boy who took pictures. She's not even in this episode. Why did they do this? This is lazy. But this is an official tape. I got this at FYE. It's just absolutely lazy. And as you can see, this is a prime example of skipping ahead. We have a Jadeite episode and a Nephrite episode, totally skipping some episodes. And here's another prime example of skipped episodes. Here we have Sailor Venus fighting Crane Machine Joe, which she's not in that episode. She's on this tape, but not that episode. And there's a cool picture of Sailor Jupiter. I love that one. By the way, I love the prismatic on the sides there. More DiC art of Sailor Moon. And for once we have correct screen captures from the episodes actually on this tape, but once again we skip ahead. We have Jupiter's debut, and then we skip about 8 episodes and go to Venus's debut. 1995, folks, what were we doing? And then this was actually the first tape I ever got of Sailor Moon, and this one's super special. So, of course, we have this dynamic art of Sailor Moon and Queen Beryl, which I do actually really love. And on the back, we have Princess Serenity, and we have an incorrect pass. It says that 1,000 years ago, this was what DiC told everybody, 1,000 years ago. We're not going to even go into that. Now here we do have correct screen captures. The Past Returns and Day of Destiny. These were the last 2 episodes to close out the first season of Sailor Moon. Fun fact, Day of Destiny is actually 2 episodes that they hacked and slashed and squozed together. And the reason why they hacked and slashed 2 episodes is because they were trying to cut out a lot of violence from the Japanese version and an awful lot of death, though the edits just kind of emphasize the death. This is a special tape, not just because it was the first I ever got, but also because at the time that I got it, Sailor Moon was in syndication on regular stations. Cartoon Network hadn't picked it up yet, and in my area, these episodes never aired on syndicated stations. So you either bought the tape or you never saw them. So that's why this one's special. There's 2 more tapes in this series. One has Mercury and Mars on the cover, and the other has Princess Serenity on the cover. Those tapes I have not yet found, but that's okay. I'm happy with these, and they're awesome prismatic titles. That's really cool. DiC would go on to release only 1 more set of VHS tapes through Buena Vista, and that was the Doomtree saga. They had a several tape set of all 13 episodes squashed together, and the artwork was very similar to this. And then the only other tapes that sort of had DiC stink on it officially were the movies. Now here's something very interesting. The movies ended up being the first time ever that uncensored Sailor Moon content made it to the United States legally. So this is the censored version of the movie that everybody remembers from Cartoon Network. And then, if you wanted to go uncut and subbed like I do, that was the tape waiting for you at Coconuts, FYE, Suncoast Video, where I got this, etc. This one my mom got at Blockbuster, this one we got at Suncoast. And you can see, like, the vast difference in the 2 versions of the movie, just right off the cover. This has a brand new cover with Princess Serenity. This, they photoshopped Princess Serenity from the end of the movie over a shot from the beginning where we introduce the other girls. So, what the hell? We've got Photoshop versus... So, even on the back of the tapes, we have some differences. Vastly different screen captures. The only thing that's the same is, of course, the image of Usagi and Mamoru kissing. The uncensored version, we see more of the characters and more scenes from the movie. The censored version, just plain stuff. Here we have the original Japanese names. And here it's basically, can Sailor Moon save Mamoru from the evil Cassinian Blossom and Fiore? Whereas here, I can't believe that they actually got away with this. Let's see, Four Scouts, Sailor Moon has to save her best friend, Darien. Is that what you do with your best friend? Do you make a kid with your best friend? Do you snog your best friend? Yeah, at this point we can stop tossing around the term best friend. We know what they are. Your boyfriend and girlfriend. Or lovers if we're following Sailor Moon Crystal. Pioneer, they released these Sailor Moon movies in the United States initially. They had the edited version, which was through DiC and through Optimum Productions, and then the uncensored version they did on their own. Pioneer almost immediately got bought out by Geneon. So we have the Sailor Moon R movie, and then I couldn't find the clamshell edited versions of the S and Super S movies, but that's okay because I prefer the uncensored version, so yeah. So these were the uncensored, subtitled tapes. These also retailed for like 20 bucks a pop back in the day. And that's what the back covers of these looked like. And if you'll notice, uncensored tapes generally have way fewer mistakes than their censored counterparts. So this is a breath of fresh air. Absolutely loved these. I don't know how many times I have watched these over and over. Fun fact, too, I forgot to mention this. These uncensored tapes didn't have any ads. They didn't have the specials that originally came before the R movie or the Super S movie. They were just the movie and nothing else. That's that. The R movie, some copies came with some commercials for other products, usually Disney related. And this one came with a few commercials for another Disney tape. It was a live-action Beauty and the Beast show for teaching kids how to read with Belle. And each of these had Disney commercials at the front of them. Totally weird. So after the movies came out, DiC lost the license, and Cloverway took over. Cloverway used to be a subsidiary of Toy. They are no more. And this is where VHS tapes got really interesting with Sailor Moon. So, right as Cartoon Network was about to pick them up, they started releasing... You two get over here. They started releasing the episodes into 3 formats. On VHS, and then again on DVD. So, these tapes are the uncensored, uncut, subtitled versions of select episodes, this time all in order. There were several of these VHS tapes. I don't have all of them, as you can see. And these came out right as DVD was starting to become more popular, so a lot of people just saved up for the DVD versions instead of buying the VHS tapes. What I love about these is that they traced over some of the art from the Japanese-only laser discs, and they took out the background gradients and put in their own backgrounds with lots of sparkles and stars to it. But these tapes also stay pretty faithful to what's actually on them. They don't try to mislead you or anything. They tell you which episodes are on them, and each one can hold about 2 to 4 episodes per tape. I believe it was like 3 or 4 episodes, and these were released through Pioneer. That was the first version. Oops, not this one. There we go. So first version, uncut, uncensored, subtitled. Second version was uncut dub. And the only way that you could tell the difference between uncut sub and uncut dub is if you looked at the tapes on the side. Now, here's the jip part of it. If you got the uncut subtitled version, you got the episode as it was aired in Japan, uncensored in Japanese. If you got the uncut dub, it really wasn't uncut. It was actually... The film footage would be uncut, in that you'd see like boobies and violence and blood, but the dub part was entirely censored. It was the same censored shit we had on Cartoon Network. You know, I bring this up because this was an episode, there's an episode on these 2 tapes that the dubbing really pissed everybody off and got some people in some legal hot water. So, right at this scene here, Chibiusa hands a letter to Minako, and it's from her mother, Neo Queen Serenity, who explains that Chibiusa is here for training, and then Minako notes that Neo Queen Serenity is still Usagi deep inside because her spelling is atrocious, and it's mostly in hiragana and katakana. There's almost no kanji in it. And this is a hysterical scene. You know, if you study Japanese, this is just so Usagi. Well, in the dub version, they take out the "she forgot to use kanji" line, and instead, Minako, now renamed Mina, like her daughter, says, "Oh, I read this with my imagination. It's just a bunch of funny symbols." That was so racist, I don't even know where to go with that one. I exploded, and some people threatened lawsuits, and it got fugly real quick. Another issue that I have is that the uncut dub tape still uses all the Japanese names, but if you put the tape in the machine, it's the English names. And I thought maybe there was a mistake, but taking it out of its case, it actually, you know, shows you that's the correct tape. You know, it doesn't say anywhere that's been, like, edited or anything. And you gotta love this, too. They use the identical labels. They don't even tell you on the label sub or dub or edit. So then the third series, and this is not the same episode, I'm just using this as reference, the same episodes were released completely censored, and these were sold mostly at Target, and as you can see, the censored tapes, different artwork. They would use like flatter images of the girls, more stock photos. The backgrounds were still pretty cool, but you know, the uncensored stuff uses the Japanese Laserdisc artwork, and these were like totally new. And here they would use like the dub names here, you know, and some of these tapes would only go up to 3 episodes, so if you wanted like 4, you had to get the uncensored version. And that's because there is an episode from Sailor Moon S that got skipped. There were a few Super S tapes that were released. They were mostly censored, and the reason why they didn't release the whole series onto VHS was at the time this hit Cartoon Network, almost everybody was switching to DVD because it's cheaper to produce. So, Super S never got a full VHS release in the United States. But they did make it up through part of the Amazon Trio arc. This one has the debut of Diana, who is one of my favorite characters because she's just so darn cute. The censored tapes also would use artwork from the cut-up openings. So yeah, this was censored to the point where they gave it a TVY7 rating. I don't know how they did this, because this now qualifies as TVPG, but somehow they made it. And then I have one last Sailor Moon tape that I can show. This one's kind of embarrassing, though, because it's a bootleg. It's a bootleg. This I got in a grab bag at the Goodwill, and it was the first 4 episodes of Sailor Moon Super S, all uncensored, all subtitled. And funny thing enough, none of these tapes are in HD, and none of them had been cleaned up. So you can't really tell bootleg tapes from real tapes because they all looked pretty dingy once you stuck them in the machine. You had to adjust your TV to make it look not dingy. Another reason why I champion the Viz Media DVDs, because they actually took the time to fix the contrast and everything. But this bootleg is so awesome. They photocopied and photoshopped images from various Sailor Moon S and Sailor Moon Super S trading cards and Sailor Moon R to make this VHS cover. And it's in a super hard plastic, and like, you want to know what they did for a label? That's what they did for a label. Fantastic. And the best part, I mean my favorite part, this is on a 6-hour tape. So you would think there'd be 6 hours of Sailor Moon episodes, right? No. You get 4 episodes, which comprise less than 2 hours of film footage. No commercials, no specials, no extras, no nothing. And then you get the 4 hours of a blue JVC VHS screen. Because this was done on a JVC VCR, and I know it was because I used to have one. So there you go. And this is my Sailor Moon VHS tape collection, and now you understand why I very much champion the new DVDs. It's actually cheaper to collect the DVDs, it's easier to find them, they're in HD, they're cleaned up, but It is kind of cool to have some of these, if for nothing else than just some of the neat artwork that's on them. It's an incredible point in Sailor Moon history, and this is something that does need to be preserved. I don't want to see this get lost anytime soon.